Hi, everybody. I'm so excited you are on Aly and Anya podcast today. And today we have a very interesting topic about money in relationships. And I have brought a guest, my friend Elena.
Hello, Ali.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Perfect. Before we begin, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm originally from Smolensk, but I lived most of my life in Moscow, so we came from Moscow.
All right, nice. So, usually, as you know, in Aly and Anya podcast, we have episodes where we compare Russian and Ukrainian cultures with American culture. What is your experience dating Slavic guys versus American guys? And of course, in our first episode, we were mentioning the difference in culture and dating versus marriage.
Let's start from dating, I guess. So dating in Russia, usually, normally, you would see that the guy is proactive and he invites you to a date and he comes, he can bring flowers, he arranged usually a restaurant, something like this. And you would think that he's gonna pay, and it's never a question who is gonna pay. I think it's okay if men pay if he's inviting you. I'm okay picking up the bill as well. Um, Personally, myself, I wouldn't go to a very expensive restaurant for a first date. I would prefer to spend some time just doing some active stuff like walking, talking, sharing some
Basically,
coffee.
it's a low key, and you would incorporate
Yes,
workout in your
yes,
date. I think in many situations, it's not even about who's paying, but the expectation is already preset. Like in our culture, you don't have to think about it. Where in the U.S., you always have to think what is the expectation of this person.
Um, I think because America is very progressive in this way, I think the gender roles are kind of mixed up, and we're kind of lost of what should expect from the other gender, what we should do as our own gender. So it's all mixed up. That's why we're always questioning, like, should I do this? Should I do that? And you're kind of like doing something, and you're looking at the other person's reaction.
For sure. Do you have different set of rules for Americans versus for Europeans?
Well, in my relationships, usually man is making more than me. So for that kind of man, it's not a problem to pick up anything. But I always offer my portion, and I pick up sometimes the things. So I'm not like giving him like 100% of
Okay, it
the.
sounds like you have your set of rules and you don't change it, and there's no different like conditions. At
Yes.
least you're
Yeah,
not
because
mixed
I
up.
don't want to be mixed up. Like I have like my set of rules, so I know what I'm behaving.
All right, let's talk about parents. Are there some behaviors that you kind of follow that your parents did, or maybe there are some things that you didn't like in their patterns?
So my parents, I remember my father was the head of household, but both my parents worked, and my father was making more than my mother. Um, but I believe they had a shared budget. Um, But my mother was making less, and I've always kind of felt that my father is more in charge of how we're gonna spend money. I've always wanted to not be in a situation like that. I wanted to have enough money for myself, so I don't need to be dependent on anybody else.
Okay, on this topic, here's my question to you. When you are already married and in a serious relationship, would you have separate accounts or would you have joint accounts? Tell Tell me more about this.
It's a very interesting question. I'm glad you asked. So, um, I think, um, of course, it depends on the couple, who is who. I hope I'm gonna make more money in the future than I'm making right now. And on average, it's more than average people making here. And in that situation, I wouldn't want my significant other to be kind of humiliated by the money I'm making. So I wouldn't let him know that I'm making much more than him. So for that purpose, I would get a joint account and we would like cash in money for our expenses. Uh,
So you paid.
yes, for sure.
Let me ask you this. When I was coming here to the US, I was coming with a zero, and I thought I was not in great position. But later on, turns out that majority of people here have student loans and some sort of debt. So it turns out we coming with nothing is we're still like better off. So the question to you is, would you be dating a person who has a lot of debt?
I think debt is not a big issue as long as the person can handle it. If they're able to do their payments, it's totally fine because this country is just was built up on debt. Everybody is in debt, and I think the debt is growing right now. So I think our normal. So one thing that I've learned a lot from, I guess, I've lived with my boyfriend, and I was making money, and he was a student, but he was from rich family, um, and his parents were giving him a lot of money. Um, but at some point, I don't know what happened, but they stopped giving him money and said, like, you have to just figure it out on your own, just find a job, move, whatever you want to do. But he didn't finish university at that time, so he wanted to finish, and he asked help from me. Um, I was making good money, and I kind of thought about it. So yes, he asked me to pay for his education. Uh, yeah, I said, okay, I can help you, but you have to find a job and you have to start making money. So I kind of became a head of household. I paid for apartment, for food, for his education and stuff, and then lasted for 8, 9 months. And exactly. And I started questioning, am I in good situation? What is happening? The tension got like rising. So, but like long story short, I cut these relationships and we split up. Um, he asked me to get married. He moved to his parents and he asked me to get married, but he never told his parents what happened. Like when they cut his allowances. And I didn't get married to him because I felt it's just not okay to be in a situation when I am responsible for everything. Well, I can tell you that like the story I told you, I basically was a man in that relationship and everything was on me. Um, and I can tell you, I was feeling very uncomfortable. It was very stressful, and I wouldn't want to be that guy, you know. But I think in the society we live in the States, I'm dating men who are completely capable of taking care of themselves. They cook sometimes even better than me. They take care of the house. And my current boyfriend, when I come to his house, I'm fascinated how things are in order. Um, all of the sections of his house. I honestly, in some things of my house, I have a mess. It's not all the house, but some places. some paperwork is gonna mess. Yeah, so it's just we learn from each other, whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah, just talk about what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, and find something in between you're both gonna be okay with.